welcome to the Art in Our Mind talk with Sophie Peters. Very happy to be here today with Sophie and Nono Motloki, who is our Art in Our Mind research team member. And Nono, say hi, Nono.
Hello.
And a big thank you to Nono, who has done a lot of work towards today's interview with Sophie, and the there's a lot of research that actually goes into one of these talks, and so big thank you to Nono for that. It's wonderful to finally be able to do this Art in Our Mind talk with Sophie. We were supposed to do this dialogue last year, but there was this little issue of a global pandemic that happened, and so we're really happy to have this occasion to finally have this talk with Sophie, which is also being held on the occasion of the AFEMS 2021 conference, which is being held at the University of Cape Town. To give a brief history of the Art in Our Mind talks, it is a research project that is run by myself, Charlene Khan. I'm a visual artist and scholar, and we started this research project in 2019, and it is based on a book by the scholar, feminist scholar Bell Hooks. Her book Art on My Mind, and it is a collection of essays in which she discusses the importance of visuality in her own community. We have taken that as the basis for tackling visuality within our own community and the importance within our own community. Art on Our Mind is dedicated to looking at the paucity of discourse around amazing women visual artists and creators who produce the most amazing visual productions within South Africa. And what we are hoping is to generate primary research through dialogue with artists, and we are hoping that discourse catches up with the amazingness of what they do. And so today, Sophie Peters, we are here in Cape Town with Sophie Peters, who has opened up her studio to us. Sophie currently resides in Manenberg, and she's working out of a studio here in Kensington. And Sophie and I met somewhere in the early 2000s on a most unfortunate for me monument making workshop that was being hosted with regards to establishing a women's memorial at the
Union Building.
At the Union Buildings, yes. And they were doing this workshop, and if anybody knows me, I am not a sculptor. I only think in 2D, and then when I move to the back, I'm always surprised that there's other sides to something. And so it was just very unfortunate, and I was in a lot of trauma. And Sophie was my saving grace in a lot of ways. And if you know Sophie, she's healing and wonderfulness and grace embodied. And so since that very unfortunate incident that was that workshop, we've managed to keep in touch over all that time, and I've been very impacted by the amazingness that is your research work and your artistic work, and just been following your career since then and looking for an opportunity to deeply engage with your work. And so I'm going to start you off with some of the basic questions that we ask in Art on Our Mind. Where were you born?
I've been born in Joburg, a place, the community was called Kliptown. And now the name has changed to El Dorado Park. So I've been living there until the age of 13. From there I moved with the gospel in other places. And when I grew up as far as 16, and I started moving up to Cape Town. But I was drawing when I was a child, doing drawings of buildings and people. And my sister, it was the best pencil work that I've ever done. And I thought I was tip-top, but it wasn't tip-top, but it was good in my eyes. It was a perfect drawing, but someone else stole it, and I never seen it since that time. And I came up to Cape Town, and I felt that I wanted to know where's the art schools in Cape Town, because they said it's flooded with artists. I made my way to Woodstock, and they told me there's an old church. They call it Community Arts Project. And I went there, and people were standing in the line, young people, and they didn't want artists that's coming to learn from the ground. They needed artists that got the art in their hands. So I was in, because I knew I got it. And when they gave me the paper and they locked me up in a room and with charcoal, and I said, I can't draw with the charcoal. I use a pencil. I said, no, this is not going to work for us. Here's a charcoal, here's a paper, and here's a sculpture. Draw the sculpture, and they locked the door and they went out. Because why they so aggressive with what they said? Because the line was too long. So I went in the room. I didn't know about warm up. I was a bit shaky because I didn't know whether I'm going to get this thing right. But suddenly, in my inner human person, something warmed up. I don't know what, but I caught the black and the whites all together. And when I was finished, I knocked by the door and they opened up. They looked, they said, I think you made it. And they said I must follow. Then we get to the office. Amazing, they gave me forms. And I knew that I was in. For 3 years, and I signed the forms, and they said, we want to see you Monday, and I was there.
So, what year were you born? If am I allowed to ask?
Yeah.
1968.
Yeah. But
And yeah,
what happened there, school papers, that's like, were lost. Nobody knew where it was. To go to school, they have to like plea and pay the principal to get. In the time of apartheid, it was very bad. And so they got me in. But my niece and me were the same age. So I have to locate and find out, is this the right age that I am, because all papers are gone. And my mother's, and they were always like drinking. And so what happened, I didn't even change the ID. I didn't worry about it. So that's why I'm sitting with 2 ages.
What's the 2 ages?
All right, 1960 was on the ID.
Okay.
Right? And the other one now is 1968. Right. 1968 is the right one. You see?
Okay.
Yeah, so...
what school did you go to when you...
Cliptown High. Yeah, there was no art. Nothing.
Nothing.
Uh-uh.
So what kind
Not in
of...
Joburg.
when you were little, what kind of creativity or art did you come to? How did you find your creative spirit when you were small?
At school.
Yeah?
Because I studied science from childhood, drawing the teeth of cats and nails and everything that was in there, like houses, whatever. But that was like, it was so good for my eye. Even cabbages, spinach, you have to draw it. And I draw it so fine and so good until I feel just like this is standing out, right? Now to fill it in with color, I always use like watercolor. And I just make it, it's like you can smell it. That's how I worked. But I was never in an art school. That was another thing. So I can say I was born with it. But it needed technically to come stronger. That's why when I grew up, I had to go to art school. Wood carving, I wasn't taught because I started with a razor blade on a tomato box. I wrote words You can't rub love in, you can't rub love off, you can't borrow love, you can't sell love, you can't buy love. I just wrote it and I cut it out with the razor blade. And I took the tomato box, I colored in with crayon pencil and make a rose and nice leaves, whatever. And I sold it for 10 rand. And that 10 rand bought meat for my mother, and then the other 10 rand, potatoes and tomatoes. I supported my mother when I was the age of 13, 10, around there.
You know, in a lot of your works, you reference your mother. You know, whether it is in this work here where it is, we see your mother on the bed, a hospital bed, deals with the death of your mother and the circumstances around that. Can you tell us a bit about your mom and what are the circumstances that led to you referencing? And because it's quite a life event that impacted you.
Okay, you see, Cliptown was a place of jolly. Indians lived there, Chinas, colored, Xhosa, Venda, all nations used to live in Cliptown. I still think there's a variety of people living there. But if a woman wants something, she made a way to take it. And she couldn't get my father because my father is an Indian and, you know, they got that smart, soft hair and he's strong and he works. And that happened. From my mother, they drank together in the shebeen where Linda was staying. So Linda used to sell Maiza. It's homemade beer. So what she said that day, it's like this baby Clinton, the small one. They used to sell that for 5 cents, right? It's way big, 5 cents. And she said, but I'm giving you this is yours, but don't go to the tin and take for yourself. But I felt something in me, there was something wrong.
And then there was your mom's friend?
My mom's best friend. I tried to listen what's inside, but it kicked me because I can't say what it really is, but it was danger.
And how old were you?
I was like 6 years old.
6 years.
Yeah. And what happened there, my mom's friend went away. So she went to fetch some money, or is it old age paint? I don't know. But my mom drank that beer. And when she was finished, remember it's this time of the day. Until nighttime, like 8, 7, and she started coughing. So what happened, what was in that beer, it was like, they call it apricot acid. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that was so strong, it burned the inside because the doctor said it was kaffir poison. But it was like apricot acid. How she managed to do what, I don't know. But now she was after my father. So when my mother suffered, my father stick by the shebeen. So what she caught my father with, I still don't know. So in the area, there was a lot of like witchcraft. A lot. They can just witchcraft you. You can pick up papers or eat from the toilet or something like that, you know. It's not good.
So
but anyway, it's past tense.
So what happened to your mom?
Right. After that, she went to the hospital. Because she coughed and coughed and coughed. And we didn't know what was happening because she couldn't talk anymore. At the hospital, she lay there the first night, the second night, and when I went to go and visit her all the time, the results, when I became of the age of 12, nearly by 12, 13, the age of 12, I came by the hospital and she said, I must tell her best friend goodbye. So now I knew something had happened between her and my mother. And the second day, when I went there, I tried to look for my mother in the hospital bed. She wasn't there. And that kicked me. It kicked me on that same moment. And I rushed in, tried to talk to the nurses. They said, no, go to talk to the doctor. When they sent me to the doctor, I knew she was dead. Then I started crying. I couldn't just talk to the doctor and say, hulle gaan en hoe sê my ma is dood, hulle het hom doodgemaak. Julle moet my explain wat het gebeur. I didn't want to get out of the hospital so without results. And they told me she had like home beer, and in the home beer there was acid.
So you were 13 years old that time when she passed away.
Hmm?
And you were 13 years old.
Yeah.
And what was life like after that?
What I got, the ideas that I was born with the art, I have to survive through that. I have to sell oranges, to buy myself a school shirt, books, shoes. Weekend, I used to make a lot of money and to buy myself the best that I could. And that is the way I survived. But my father couldn't give me money for a shirt or a shoe or socks. He was always busy, or he wasn't at home and he was just gone. He come back at night and he's drunk. There's always broken promises. Now will and I will, tomorrow, and I don't worry next week, I haven't got money. You understand? So I didn't want to go to school with torn shoes, open shoes. Because the first shoes I have to tie it down with wire. And it's winter, it's June month, and it's ice cold between the grass to get to Shawela by the school. And when I get to school, the hands are so dry of the cold and so hard. You late, and now you have to do like this. They must hit you with a ruler because you're late. That's like, you feel like dying because the pain is already there of the cold and you bashing me. When I felt you can kill someone because the pain is too heavy. But it's deeper than that. So yeah, and I studied on my own way. My sister wasn't supportive, nobody, I had to push myself.
Sounds like a very difficult and painful way to grow up, Sophie.
And is this you and your mom here?
Yeah, this is me.
And what age are you here?
I think I was 6 around there, 6 or 7.
Okay.
I think so.
This is one of those works. I mean, what is this work called?
This is a past in the past, the future from the past, something like that. Let me just see.
Times
from the
my past.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything that's what I told you,
In here.
it's yeah, but this is in detail. You know, when I was a child, I used to fight.
Yes.
Come back to my old lady and tell her, it's like I just bash someone else, but I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling hurt. And she said, it's okay, but you got to go back and I'm going to fight for you. I'm not going to fight someone else for your part.
So
This is your street life.
this is lino. This is lino work.
This is lino.
Because a lot of people are under the impression that you were not formally trained. But as you mentioned, you went to CAP, to
Yeah,
community.
I went to CAP. There is where I started with lino. Because I
Okay.
didn't know how to work with lino.
And then you later went on to teach at CAP
Yes,
as
I did.
well. What was that experience like?
The experience, just like it was very good. Because after the 3 years, 85, 86, 87.
Yes.
After 87, they gave us training to go out to go and teach, like Langa, Guguletu, and all this kind of centers. But the art school, Saturdays, we used to teach children that come from Guguletu and Langa and other places. And that was the only element that we were being taught strongly to work with.
And it's, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
But painting that came afterwards. That is what they pushed us for first. Lino cut, yeah. And afterwards, the color lino cut came in.
And that's what I was about to ask, that there's in terms of color, a big difference between the paintings and the linos, where the linos is just black ink, maybe with a touch of gold, whereas the paintings have a lot more color.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in one interview that you were very skeptical with working with color in lino, but you were more confident with working with color in painting.
The paintings came afterwards. It's like they give you classes. You start with something else, and next month you start with something else. Now you start with 3 colors. It's brown, black, and white. Just 3 colors, not even a range of it. And that makes you scratch. It's like how I'm going to get around this space, and it's just 3 colors. The teacher said, that's all. Claro, that's it. And she goes, then you got to work your way out with those 3 colors. So from the black and white.
1 year or 2 years did you study at CAP?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, it's from 6, 5, from 6, 7, from
85,
5, 6,
86, 87.
That's it, yeah.
And
18.
who else was in your class? Billy Mandindi?
Billy Mandindi is there today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vuyile Voya?
Cameron Vuisani,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes, the other guys, I don't know.
Vreile?
Yeah, Vuile.
Mm-hmm.
We just Chidi Sifako.
Mm-hmm. David Shongwane?
David Ongwane and the others.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but the most teachers, it was Lionel Davids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I forgot the others.
So was Lionel like a mentor?
Yeah, Lionel did all the screen work.
Okay.
Right. But from Lionel to screen work, I mean, it teaches you to color. But I didn't actually like to get to color because it took me too long, because I got stronger in the Lionel. See, I didn't want to get on all those blocks and I was fast. I was like getting all images and come from home, like the next day. What I seen in a taxi, I put it down. There's no time for color now, I'm cutting. Because the reason why I was alone, I got no family in Cape Town, I need to support myself, I need money to eat, to drink, to get taxis somewhere. Without money, I can't do, I have to sell.
Yes.
And that selling became. And there's a lot of money that came in. And afterwards, it was overseas that came in. Other people from overseas, and they saw our work, and they made exhibitions in Mississippi. And that was the first exhibition.
And this was during apartheid. So how was it creating under that constant anxiety of, the violence, and you mentioned once that they actually did raid CAP, and I'm wondering what that experience was like. And I think also I remember you mentioning that because of, the typical reasons, there were certain things that you couldn't say or couldn't create during that time, and you felt a lot more liberated once apartheid ended, and you felt like now you're a lot more vocal and expressive about some things. So I'm just wondering a bit about.
See, there's other thing that happened in apartheid. It was so painful, and I didn't want to be involved in violence. And the paintings that we did for ANC, police were chasing us from left and right. I didn't want to go to jail, and I just kept I worked, I did the flags, but anything when I hear a police around, and I get myself out of it.
Wait, how did you get involved with doing paintings for ANC?
they asked for flags. They brought some flag rags.
To carry.
And yeah, because one of the guys got a contact, right? A contact, and they got us as a art group, and get all that not the generator. It's like something that you put on. It's like a cameraman. I don't know how can I say. You put the drawing.
Yes.
Overhead projector.
Overhead projector, yeah, and then you put it against the wall, the whole rag, then start drawing. From there, we put it on the floor, put all the papers, and we start painting. So that is where we got involved. But afterwards, with certain paintings, they were chasing for certain elements. I didn't know why, and they wanted David Songwan, he was really involved. Now, for me and the others to be in, I kept myself out of it because I can't fight the government. They got all the trucks, the guns, and the flying machine. Well, I can't fight them. I don't know. I can't do this. I'm out. And I started just doing my line on community, and that is what kept me going. I kept out of cliques, a clique of friends. I did everything for myself and for the people. Whatever happens in that time, painful, I put it online or I don't talk a lot. That saved me in that time.
And you can really see it in the work. It has a lot of pain, but you speak that you've healed a lot and you've moved on.
That's
and that music was also a big part of the healing from all of these past traumas.
Yeah, in music, I write what I see. Where I meet some friends and I hear maybe a pain or maybe happiness or something, I will sing about it. But the main thing is for me to heal people out of their pain and to bring them back where they're supposed to be. And they must be general, they must be the self, and they must be human, and they must be happy. And that's why I work against the pain and bring all that out. And when it moves out, then you're free. I got styles and ideas how to work it out. I can sit and talk to you. I can listen to your story. I can start drawing from your story and put it in liner and let it go.
When you tell these stories through music, what do you believe the power of that music is?
It brings so much joy and pain because it takes out the pain from inside. Because it's so much woman that sits with the same thing that you actually don't know. My song is on radio now. It's voted. It's on 4. All right, it's on 4. But what happens? Friday night, they got a child. They found a child in a cooler bag, a fetus that was just, the child is formed. But when the child came out, she didn't want her mother and them to know. And she took that fetus, put it in a cooler bag for 2-3 days, inside there. And she started cleaning herself up. But that pain inside, I've lost a value. I'm messed up, you see. A future is really messed up because it will burn at the back of the brain. I've killed a human being. Because when the preaching comes through, a song comes through, it will always hit her. And it won't give her a freedom to be free. She have to just take it out.
So your music helps to take it out?
That's it. And it's a lot of people, when they hear my music, like yesterday, someone said, "My God, will you please tell me the story of this song? why did you write a song? It hit me. And I didn't answer her because I was just in few minutes to preach. And when I came back, I read the note, the voice note. I thought, okay, I must sit down properly and explain it. Why is the song on air? And why did I write it? It's running. It's not working. Sitting in the street the whole day. And the sun is shining and they're talking nonsense the whole day until sunset. And they become gangsters and stuff like that, or meet on another girl, you know. Or you get guys with name t-shirts and name shoes, and yeah, it's just money that goes for name clothes. But he's poor like a mouse. He's sitting on the streets.
So your work speaks a lot about, so you're using the word yar, and things are a lot makar. And so if you talk about that, like a society that's yar makar, a lot of your work is about that, right? You know, in other ways we can say that the work, from a very young age, your work shows violence against women, violence against children, but it is about a society that's yar and makar. How do you continue to represent all that violence, but also not be completely overwhelmed by that?
I don't know, inside is like a cooking pot. When a pot cooks and it boils and there's no where the steam can goes up, that lid will make a noise. Now this is how I feel when I talk about the pain of some women. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm gonna start with that video that I was talking about earlier, where I heard you sing. Because the first part when you were singing, they don't show you singing, so I wasn't sure if it was you. Then the second part, they do show you singing, and I was like, she also sings.
I should have kept it got on.
You had the same, same Duke on.
Okay, so
yes.
Okay, I see.
Yes, in that studio, it was
Asai?
Yes, on a side.
Now
Yes. So this performance, where was this?
This was just here in Menenberg, not far. I asked some other band to help me, just to practice the song, and when the concert comes, then they can play it. So it was a tabernacle church, just in Menenberg. So on that night, it was a lot of women, a lot of men, but it was a lot of cry too, right? Because we expressed what I was writing. That was a time when the dream of writing the pain of people, like a journalist, you locating some stuff that hits you, and that is what I brought out. So war began and we started there. And we wrote 8 songs out of that. And that was the outfit that we wrote.
Beautiful.
Who's the other family? She's married now. Her name is Candace Williamson. But now, her surname, I don't know what's her surname now.
Was it a duo? Were you guys in a duo? Like a band together?
Yeah, a duet.
Yes, a duet.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Incredible Love, that's my band name.
Oh, the Chariots! Okay.
Yeah, that's Incredible Love. So I'm trying to explain that God's love is so incredible. It buckles your mind, because when you want to get out of something, God, it creates you and it buckles your mind, because you don't know what God is going to do next. You see? And that is the reason I call it Incredible Love. To be a woman, you can be strong. You can be weak sometimes. You can be untalented, but you can use your brain. When you told me about feminism, it took me so deep when you explained me because I couldn't understand what. And I said, Stephanie must Google. and she would Google it. I said, yes, like I've got everything of that.
Yes.
You know, the paintings, the music, and things that I'm going through with other people that I'm helping. And yeah, yes, like it's too strong. That's why I put my title down, Forgive, Forget, and Move On.
Can you also tell us a little bit about in '93 with CAP yet again? You guys had a mural collective.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what that was? Who was in it? What you guys did?
It was just us as a group.
Who was in the group?
David Longwane, Tsidi Sifako, Vuyo. It was Vuyo. Then it was Cameron. The others that came afterwards, that wasn't that strong in the art collective. Then is Helen, I don't know what's her surname. No, not Helen Subi. No, someone else, it was Helen. So we as a group, we started that collective, but we didn't go too far because it became like someone wants to be the boss and in a company and you have to go and look for the work and bring it in. And so everyone didn't want to do that. And they thought, nah, I want to do some money. I don't want to go and look for some work. So the mural collective was fine, but we didn't. Putaza, I don't know what his first name, but Putaza was the main guy that worked in WC. That bring all this kind of stuff from outside in. So he got to work for us in UWC, the murals that's on the wall till today. We have to just go to do these murals. One mural, you got to draw it to this week and you got to finish it in this week and you get your cash. Not longer than a week. You got to finish it 5 days sharp, klar. You got to draw, paint. Whether the students are around, you got to just work around them and talk to them, don't touch them. And that was nice. Because everyone in UWC Center have his own style of work. I used to work in realistic style. That's all. I didn't like pattern work. It didn't make sense for me. By me, I need to see a woman and I would need to see a child and a man, anything, a tap, whatever, it must show the people this is a thing.
So you always drew from like live.
That's
You
it.
didn't take pictures, reference pictures, and then
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah. Not too much, sometimes.
okay.
And just take maybe, when you say like, I just take that piece and I leave the other piece, I just, And sometimes people on the street take some drawings quickly. Maybe someone is standing like this. I'll draw fast and I'll take that and I'll go home and I'll work it out on a line or something and it comes out. So yeah, even when they started doing this riot, breaking the shops in, whatever, I caught one girl was running with the trolley. The whole grocery, I don't know, but she was really running. So they were breaking the shops in. But I caught that piece and I put it in one of my paintings in UWC, it's not here. And a woman's half face, I put it in there. Because everything that is hunger of the children, the mother have to supply children on another way, but the man won't really do that. When you go to the streets, you'll see women sit with apples and oranges or something, or they're selling meat or something like that. But she's working for children to get to school, colleges, or something like that. But you'll never see the man sitting around there and doing that. So that's why I call it drinking energy in one of my paintings.
You've spoken a lot about how women, you see them, with children, and the ways in which they are treated by men, and even from your earliest work, whether it's around your mother or we see you around other women even at a young age in your community. There's a lot of emphasis on women and children and the struggles that they go through. Here we're looking at a very early work of yours from 89, and we're seeing a dead woman and her child. And here again, we're seeing a very metaphoric work of a woman that's being bound and screaming out in pain. These struggles emanate in so many of your works. Can you tell us about the ways in which you tackle woman and child violence in your work?
Okay. The painting that you see, it's the part that I was talking about, how they poisoned my mother. So this is a part where the hospital gave her a time to come and visit us. Now at home we have to treat her with a mace, millimeter mace, and they throw it in a funnel of glass, and it goes straight to her stomach. And this hand, it talks about my mother's mother, my granny, and say, can you see now? I told you to stay away from all the Sabine places. Now they poisoned you. Now you see your friends are passing. They're not coming in anymore to come and greet or talk to you. Now you're suffering without a visit. You're suffering and they're not asking you questions or bringing you apples or anything. They're not caring for you. So it's more bad than anything now. The rope, the reason why I did the rope, the poison inside was like binding the life out of a body. And that's why she was like screaming, in between scream and laugh. It's like she's winning because she forgives the lady, and she's screaming of the pain inside that she can't bear anymore. And I realized that when people are in pain, men used to abuse them. Men used to abuse them. And not going to work and giving them money. They lose their work because of alcohol. And when they're too much in alcohol, they can't focus in their work. They like shivering. So the lady that's in a painting, she was a genuine wife for her husband, and she bare a child for him, and the other one was like 12 years old. But when he started drinking because he didn't have work, he was like frustrating. And he came one night at home and he asked his wife for food. And she said, how can I give you food? There's no money. And there's nothing to even feed a child. You can't ask that because we're actually dying of hunger. And he didn't want to hear about that, and he started bashing her, grabbing on her hair and hitting her and going for the child in the baby cage, in the cot. And he wants to grab the child. And his wife grabbed the child, and he took him, and he took her and the child, and he flinged them out of the door by hair. And he hit her so hard, and she landed out of the stoop. And the child fell out of her hand. And that's the reason the child is laying on the floor full of blood, and she couldn't focus because she was unconscious. The next day, she was dead. But on the doorknob, where you can see there's some blood, he cut his 12 years young boy's hand off because the child didn't want to leave the door. He wanted to talk to his father, but the father was so violent, he cut the hand off. But what left, it was the skin and the hand inside the door, and the son ran away and asked for help. It's where other people helped him. The next day when he woke up, there's a window where you can see a small face. And the small face were looking the next day, looking for his wife and wondering what was taking place. But the liquor that he was drinking made him mad, making some demonizing, and that's why he killed his wife, and he didn't know. The next day, he was so sorry for what he'd done. But he couldn't get his son again because his son ran into the community and they saved him there. After 12 years, when he was in jail, and he came out and he was repentant, and he said, I will never ever use liquor anymore because liquor made me destroy my family. But now I'm looking for anyone that can sign this letter and say, I'm not going to drink anymore. By the right hand, please come and just sign. But there was one guy in the community was big already. And he couldn't sign with the right hand. He tried to sign with his left hand. The guy asked, what happened with your right hand? He said, because my father cut it off. It's the story that you told, and you were my father. You've been jailed for this long, and that's why I'm this age. And they grip each other and forgive each other and we love each other. And that was like perfect forgiveness. And forget the pain, and they moved on in a new kind of life. That's why the reason I called it Arm Without Hand. Now the painting's name is Sorrows of Life. Right? So yeah, the other lino cuts, you will like etching, you will read that it's Arm Without Hand because it links with that painting. But my mother's story and that painting is nearly the same because it's in a marriage, a kind of thing that happened. Yeah.
So you work between painting, you work between lino cut, you work huge murals, you sculpt as well, and just now we'll see some of the other kinds of ingenuities and entrepreneurship that you're also involved in. How do you decide when an idea comes to you which one it's going to manifest in?
It is. What you say?
When an idea comes to you,
ideas.
how do you decide which one, whether it's going to be a painting or a woodcut or a mural? How do you decide?
When I'm looking at the work and I see that I've got too much work, I will take the painting that maybe a drawing, and I'll shrink it into etching, because that will make it more so strong, expressing, and make it small and very strong. That I will do that. Because when I'm going to put it in a mural, it will take me 2 or 3 months to get out that powerful points that I want to do. But now, what happened, we've been in a rush because they want the work as fast as we can. They didn't want to work for 3 months. So I have to go down to lino or etching and push this thing out for an exhibition. So it was time limited. That was the reason I do that. Yeah.
Do you have, is there any favorite medium? Is there something that you are more passionate about between all of this?
Yeah, looking at that lino cut, the heart that lays on the press. The reason the heart is on the press, and there's a tube that goes from the heart right out. It means from the heart inside, it comes right straight out, and it gives the wording to people. It's like it goes to the press. Anything that I speak goes to the papers. It goes to it goes to on TV. Sometimes on magazines. It goes through there. That's why I use the press in Caversham Square, in Caversham Press, to show that everything that's in the heart, when it comes out, it brings it powerfully on paper. So that is the reason I use an angel around the press and the heart, because we can't live if Satan is around and try to manipulate our lives and make us sick and then try to kill us. But God has gave us angels, like Romans 3:13. He said, there's an angel that guides you from the morning and the night, wherever you go. You are protected by his angels and his blood that's shed for me and you. So that is the reason I put the heart on the press and the angel behind. So that's why through the pandemic, we are still healthy and we can talk without masks, because God is most powerful than the sickness, this pandemic. And yeah, I actually didn't care about any mask or something, because I never make anyone sick and I'm still healthy. And I can just pray for people, and that's how it goes. Without prayer, I will never ever make it. With this house full of painting, without the strength of God, I will be really useless. Yeah, that's it.
Sophie, you've spoken about, this work about the printing press, and you've spoken about, your relationship a little bit with spirituality. And I want you to tell me a little bit about your work with Caversham, because you've done a lot of work with Caversham Press, right? So can you tell me a little bit about your work with Caversham Press and with Malcolm?
Okay, this is a work that I did with Malcolm Christians, and he's a brilliant guy. He taught us a lot, and
it's like a wizard, right?
And that is the first time that I did silk screening, color, in lino combined. So when it came out, I was like, wow, I can't believe that I did this, because every work of mine was black and white. Now, the past of the future, that one there, that is just a square of color. The reason is I made a code to just say this. It was a piece of myself. That is a code, a color code. And because if anyone wants to steal it, he will make maybe some other color he will put down, but that is oil color, is not any color that you can put. So when they steal it, I will know the pigment of that is my code. And that is the greatest piece, because it's part of me. It's from my childhood right to adult. And all the pieces, elements that you see, it's snakes, it's lizards, it's all the kind of patterns. Those are the stuff as a child I was playing with. I brought everything from my childhood, from pork bones. We ate pork bones and porridge every time, because there wasn't genuine food. that made us grow. And like they call it baji in English, but it's mrogo in Zulu. And that make us grow, and it gave us more strength in our blood. It's like it strengthens your blood. It's like spinach. But all that kind of stuff, the reason why I'm lost in my tears. This is a prayer that I did, because when I cry of all the past and the pain, but I brought it through the press, and that's why anyone look at my linos, it comes from inside, from the heart, straight to the press, and everyone catches it, and it puts it on TV, on papers and magazines, whatever. It went through the press of the heart. And that's why I call it, I'm lost in my tears, because my tears writes down what I'm feeling inside.
But the print medium also allows you to make multiples, and you started extending that now into cushions as well.
Yeah.
But you've been a lot more entrepreneurial than that. And what we're seeing here now is some of the range of your entrepreneurial spirit, because you make purses, you make pouches or bags for Bible, for books. Or you make these wonderfully stylish armbands, which we are advertising here, and we see here to make us look extra gorgeous. But I want to also highlight some of the super practical ways in which you help us as women in our lives as well. And so I want you to sort of demonstrate for us the use of what seems to be these very decorative, cute little sticks. But I want you to tell us what they're about, this set of sticks and this set of sticks, what they're called and what their functions are.
Okay. I will start with the sponging. When people looks at it, when I take this out, they will think it's for a phone. But it's not for a phone, it's for carry the sticks. And this, you carrying it, you put it over your neck, and you go to the shop, and you don't need to look for it, and because it's just here. And you take it out, and you use it, put it over there. And because when the bag is too heavy, with like fish tins and milli-meal or anything, it's heavy, it cuts your hand. But now it's easy done. And you can just carry it, and you can walk with it out. So everything, when you finish at home, you take it out, you put it there, and you hang it on the wall. And you know that you can go shopping when you take it from the wall. So this is how it is. And this other one, I show that when you may be tired of the straight ones and you use the crooked one, there's leather on it. It's soft, it's comfortable. You can just carry it nicely, and you can go to town, whatever. Now, it's unbreakable, it's uncrackable, it's unbeatable. It goes nowhere. It helps you carry. So it's soft. So you can just carry a shopping center, whatever. You can carry anything. It beats anything.
And these are made out of blue gum.
Yeah, it's made out of blue gum. And this is another kind of tree that I don't know what the name is, but I was really fascinated about the kind of skin of it, and I use it. But the reason why I carved it out like this, it's a place for the skin to hold it, not to be like bumpy or lumpy.
And they come in all sorts of sizes, shapes and sizes, simplicity for those people who are super minimalists as well. And your brand is called Sacht. What does Sacht stand for?
It's It's Sophie, art, gallery, and general trade.
Mm-hmm.
That is art.
And it's amazing because, I remember the days when I did used to take taxis and, carrying home groceries, and literally I would cry, between my home sometimes and the house, just from these packets that
Cutting
into the hand. And I have to say, with all of my degrees, nothing as simple as this ever crossed my mind, but it's just sheer ingenuity and talent. And really, if you say it, God's gift to put this in your head to make something like this, it's really, your ingenuity. But here is another amazing idea that you have. So you need to tell us about this amazing idea as well.
Okay, I sat at home and I thought, to go and carry wood. If you look at a painting on the wall, there's an angel around the woman that carries wood.
On her head.
Yeah, and you get some women that works on the field. They carry wood. Because in the wood, there can be maybe a snake or something like that, and she didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it can bite her. But now this I came across, I thought, if we go picnic or something like that and we want to go and fetch wood and not carrying it, you can just pack it in here and carry it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And you can move around with it. But now I realized that the wood is too thick. I must make it a little bit smaller. That's another idea, to shrink it up and you can hold it nicely. But this here is strong. This is blue gum. It's the same friend of the small ones. So it's so strong it actually goes nowhere. And you can just tie it up and you can just put it like this and pull it up and bring the wood. You tie it up, it won't fall. So that is another idea. So this is the stuff that hits me every time when I wake up in the morning. What am I going to do today? Something nice comes up. Hey, I go to bathroom and clean myself and eat and start working. Get to the new thing. And the painting will wait maybe for a week. Before, as it goes dry, then I start working with a leather. So this is a kind of person that I am. I dream my stuff out and I start working. I don't need to go to a factory.
So tell
I
me,
design it all.
who are some of your own artistic influences or people who have influenced you?
Of this kind of stuff.
No, everything.
No. Just by the paintings, it was really best.
Okay.
The way you worked with tins, it was mind-boggling. I don't know how the guy started the thing. But the only thing is, when we work as artists, it's like we try to compete with each other, but not actually, but inside you want to show what you can give. The same when you dresses, I think, I could design this thing like this. Well, this is beautiful, but it goes beyond, And ideas is like a dream. It's like it's a given idea, and it's inside here. You want to design something, but you don't know what's in my mind. And tomorrow when I put my table out, how? Nah, I just did it. I don't know how it happened. The same with the purses. I know how purses been done, but suddenly when I went to Woodheads, I look at in the bin. I see a lot of pieces of leather. I thought, it's so soft. And in my mind came, you can design purses, uncut purses. So I called it Uncut. the purse that she got, it's a usual purse that you can get on the streets. But the skin, you can't get it on the street. It's expensive. Zebra, you can't get it anywhere. You can just get it by the trade shops. Very expensive. You can pay maybe 300 rand or 200 rand for just the skin, never mind the design of the purse. Yeah. So that is the ideas that came up. The armbands. Skin, you can't throw it away because everything there's around, it got its place and it got its purpose for being around. You can just do it, nothing, you can't throw anything away. Everything is money.
And what are these called?
Sometimes I call them my ladies, my ladies, small ones, because they lady-wise, you just handle it. And when I started, I called this comfies, all right? But the reason why I called it comfy is because my name is on there. And it's just,
And these?
I don't know how to call it. It's too much to say. This is a wood carrier. You haven't got a unique name. It's a wood carrier. That's all. It saves the person that works in the field, and when you go out for picnic or something like that, that's your carrier, wood carrier. That's the name. There's no other funny name. Yeah. So this is how.
Has there been things about your work that has been written about your work that you have not liked?
Nah, because whatever comes out of my hands, it comes from my soul. And when it goes out, it gets sold. But sometimes my fault is I hold some work back for a number of years. I don't know why it happens, but it's just like that. And when certain number of years comes, and suddenly you hear a person say, I want that work, how much is it? Then I sell it because it is time to go out. Then I release it from my heart and forget
But
about
in
it.
terms of the way the South African field engages with your work, is there sometimes the way that the arts field writes or engages with your work? Is there sometimes you're not happy?
I can say when we get stuck with no money or something like that, and the work is around, but you don't want to release it, but you need to let it go, and you really to design something new, and to say I don't like what I did now. If that something happens, it happens in the studio. I paint over it. Then let me tell you. You see this painting of my mother, there's two paintings under it.
Oh no!
There's two paintings under it. Yeah, you're right. I did a strong hand in green because I was angry. You see, I put that green hand out of that. It wasn't by the side, it was out of the stomach. I put it out of the stomach. And the guy of the gallery said, it's too painful now. He went out. And Kondrates, I think he's still alive now, he's old now. He said, if you can't take what happens in the studio, get out, don't come in, leave the artist, because artists expressing the pain that happens in a family. And the colleague went out. And Kondrates looked at the painting and he studied it, and he felt that this painting was under tears. I was drawing it in a room where nobody comes in. I cried and I paint, that it was too much pain. And when that painting finished up, I came down and the paint is out. 2005. I sold half of the whole paintings in the gallery, the opening of the show. So that was a blessing because it came out truthful, not with no lies. Even the sculptures were sold, the books, and the aeroplane, I was there like an autograph. I have to sign autograph, the books were just flying.
Because
So
you've done a lot of book
that-
illustrations,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. So that is who I am. I take it like, I talk it like it is. I don't pull no punches. Yeah. That is what happens. I don't tell lies.
So Sophie, we spoke earlier on about your work and the violences, the femicide, and a lot of your other work also deals with various social issues. We see a lot of poverty reflected. We see issues with HIV/AIDS. I was wondering if you could talk more about that.
When I talk about HIV, there's too much distrust between woman and a man. Sometimes they talk about love, but then it's not really love you. But they love what they can get out of you. Maybe it's in a sex life, just to satisfy the desire. And when they finish, then they just, how can I say, rise up and just hit the road, and they don't care about you. And that is not love. It's love for a desire for sex. But when it comes like protecting themselves, there is no such a thing like protecting in that same time. And a government realized that they must make some condoms to save people not to get the disease. But in raping, there's no time now for condom and something like that. They hit you and they push you up or something like that, and they rape you and they finish and they go. And when you're still alive and they're sitting with the disease, that this guy go and rape all this kind of other woman and bring it to you. And that's why the reason it's in lots of communities. You get AIDS. When you get on TV, they will tell you, we covered you for 100,000 for AIDS, whatever. We will make sure that you can live longer. But not to sleep around and to catch this kind of disease because you can't read it on the face of the woman or a man. You can't smell it. You can't see that person got AIDS. It's a disease that got no color or sign. So that happens in this kind of life. That's why I did it with the rope over the hands. It's between white and black. It does AIDS and diseases doesn't cut no color. It doesn't ask what color can it take or what kind of nation can it take. It takes everyone in one time. So that's why between lands and communities and cities or whatever, it hits everyone. Everyone get to the hospital and sit with pills for the rest of their lives and things like that. So that's why I spoke about AIDS, right? But I'm calling it cry mercy, because when you know that if this pill doesn't help me, my children are still young, I have to go and cry to God for mercy, for me to live longer, to look after my children and my family. So that's why the name is Cry Mercy. Now when I get to this painting, I spoke earlier about women that really works for their children. When they know they got 1 or 2 or 3 children, those children must go to colleges. Those children, they are musicians. Those children are artists. The children are lawyers, and maybe they're going to fly aeroplanes or something. Their futures is in their hands. But the one who keep the future alive is the mother. Because the child is the future. Because when the child grows there, either when he lands in good, in good soil, let me say, and in good hands, then that child will produce a good life, and he will live and learn more, to go and study or something and to be someone better. But when he falls in the hands of a wrong community, he will land in drugs, he will land in gangsterism, he will land in gunism, where he starts fighting and putting grudges out, something like that, wrong friends. But when the lady of the house or the mother looks properly after the children and get the money, the chicken, the liver, or wors, how can I say?
Sausage.
The sausages and everything, pig skin and meat. They sell it on streets just to get money to feed their children and get them to colleges. And they work very hard. Now I call it drinking energy. How is it possible that this lady wake up in the mornings, early in the morning, she sits outside and she sells fat cakes and eggs and whatever, and her goal is, my child must get on top. That is what she's giving that morning. But now when she gets abused and whatever, she won't show the people that she gets abused at home, and she's sitting and selling this kind of food for her children, or her husband say, you must bring some money in here. I don't want to hear anything. You don't bring nothing in, I will smack you or bang you up. So that is a kind of abused life and some stuff that happens. So that's why I call it drinking energy.
Sophie, you talk about man's desire. You talk about
Woman.
about man's love, but spirituality. God has been very close to ideas about God, and spirituality has been a very big part about your life. Can you tell us what spirituality is for you?
Okay. Some woman and man knows how to go to church because they get it from their mom or their father. When father prays a lot or something like that, and they will work around it because God gives the power for us to wake up in the morning, to live. And if God doesn't protect you and your sin is that high, He takes His hand away. Because you're a mess up in a community, you're a mess up in town, you're a mess up in a country or something like that. But when they start praying and knows who God is, then the children will know how to pray, and they will know to respect someone else. They will know that my mother said respect someone else because God loves you and God died for you. You see? John 3 verse 16, He said, for God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son. But me and women out, they won't give their only son for someone else and say, take my son and let him go and work for you. No, they will work and hold their children here. But God realizes that to save her whole world, children, babies, old ladies, and makisak vatni, but He gave His Son to save us from sin. And His only blood wash our sins away. But if your permission, if you give a permission that the blood of Christ wash your sins away, then the blood will do that because God allows that. But if you doesn't, it won't do that. The Bible says God stands by the door and He knocks. If you opens the door, then He will enter. But if you doesn't, He's a gentleman, He will stand outside. Because your will will allow him to do what he wants to do in your life. But if your world doesn't work that way, you can't do it, you won't do that. So that's why that's why the children, they're growing up and they focus on their future. That's why I made that young boy that it's focusing straight. That when my mother goes down, I'm around. I can still make it up.
And we see that a lot in your conversations of, being saved, healing, and as much as the work does reflect a lot of communal trauma and personal trauma, it also speaks a lot about communal healing and spiritual healing and personal healing as well. And I was just wondering, with everything that's happened in your life and you speaking about how you've healed, what does that feel like? Do you finally feel free? Do you feel lighter?
Nice.
What does healing feel like?
It's exciting, really. I'm free, I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling young, not old. I'm feeling I can make another 50 years.
You're feeling hungry because this interview is taking long.
Yeah, I'm feeling hungry to work further. I feel hungry to design more. I feel to write more songs and get that music out. And whether you're crying and the taxi goes past and you hear that music, you will forget about crying. You will try to listen to that song. That is what? It's in me. I'm like a tree that gives life to other people or other trees or something like that. But I'm a part of a tree that God created. I'm not a destroying tree. No, I give life and I make sure you live with peace that is within me. I'm not an aggressive person. I love people because I'm a human, full person. Why must I reject and grudge you and hate you? And you're the same like me. So there's no other highway. It's like it is. We got to love each other like I love myself. Right? It's okay. So that's it.
Last
It's
question.
done.
I don't know if we should edit that,
Last
but
question.
the last question I think is a personal question for me as a young artist. Firstly, I was wondering how it's like working in Manenberg and in Kensington. And I'm particularly wondering because sometimes I'm afraid to leave Joburg, because it's an epicenter of the arts and everything, and it has the youth and the creativities. I feel like if I leave Joburg, then I become invisible, So I wonder what it's like to practice on this side of the art world, and also how you feel now at the age of 52, your position is in the arts, whether it's the local arts here in Kensington or it's within the whole of South Africa or internationally. How do you feel about where you are now as an artist?
I feel excited. Yes, like I don't involve in people's fighting on the streets. When I hear gunshots, I don't go and peep because I see it on TV. I got no problem. They can finish what they finish outside. I don't involve in any scandalizing of people or sitting and chit-chatting about you the whole day and think I'm the king and I'm better than everyone. That makes me safe in Manenberg. It keeps me in the house because the painting doesn't say run out and go look what's happening, but my heart is in what I want to say. So in Cape Town, it makes me walk free because good morning, hi, hallo, hoe gaan het niet? Gaan goed? Nee, it's alright, fine. Hoe gaat het met je broer? Nee, it's alright. Everyone is happy. Whether he's so aggressive, I break him down. Hallo my broer, hoe gaan het? So wees jy, die son skyn, alles is lekker, jy voel gezond, as jy kwaad in reis, as jy kwaad gemaakt reis, maak 'n ander draai man, vergeet dat, jy kan het maak vir die dag. Verstaan je nou? Now, this is how I am. I met a gangster 2 weeks ago. He said, yeah, ek is hard-loving. He said, oh, goed. Dit is hard-loving, my broer. As jy lewe baie swaar, ek dink jy moet werk gaan soek. Want jy kry baie swaar, maar dis mos 2 hande, jy kan ons gaan werk. Dan 'n hard-loving gaan ons nie weer daar wees nie, genoeg geld. En dan kan jy sorg vir jouself. So, that is how you can talk to aggressive gangsters. You speak natural. And when you greet him nicely, he will greet you nicely. And when you talk to him, he goes humble. He won't pull out a gun. It's like he's hunted. No. If you treat him like you wanted to be treated, he will treat you the same way. But if he greets you and you go bubbly and don't greet me, what they will ask, what's wrong with you? Then the fight starts. Or they will poke you or they will shoot you. You see? But me, even in a car, I will greet people. Hello. If he doesn't greet, but hey, you just got it, and I'm past with my car. I greet everyone. Even that guy that you saw on the street, that's greasy, whatever. Hello. He goes, okay, I can't forget. Even give him a tour, and I don't know what he's going to do with a tour, but he got it. So, love anyone, even his waste material that walks on the street. You can create him a little bit better, but just give him a piece of your love. It's not a lot. Just hello, hi, how are you? It's fine, okay. Then he will go to, even a drunkard, if you go like that, he goes like this. You understand? So engage with everyone. That made me live so long. Even in church, when I see someone struggles, I won't talk on that moment. Let's talk a little bit. Silently. And just to hold a person on the shoulder or on the neck. He breaks down because the thing inside hurts him. But he finds out that someone loves me and takes care of me and can listen to the piece or story that hurts me, and that it goes away. And next time when he sees you in church, hello, and he will try to talk to you again and say, that piece helped me, what you gave me. You understand? Pieces of words means a lot to someone else. Even when a person cries, just take a hanky off and wipe it and give a huggy and say, everything will be okay. It will be all right. Things like that. So that creates a beautiful world. Without that, nah, you lost. Hear it. It's not going to work. The beauty must be inside out. That's what I know. If you're so ugly, but what you do counts a lot. Buy a magazine. You see a beautiful color, what you get there. Just like what you understand? And you see maybe different pictures that doesn't fit you. That's not good. But you got to be like a magazine that hungry outside, hungry inside, must make you happy from inside. So it will make you happy from inside out. So that's it. I'm happy for you asking me all these questions.
Well, we've come to almost to the end of our interview. I'm going to ask you one last set of questions now.
Quick fast.
You have to answer very, very quickly, and you're going to answer in one word. Not quick, not thinking too much. Only one word, Sophie. Yeah?
I get nothing to say.
Only one word, yeah. But I know you're thinking already. I know, no long stories, nothing, just one word, ne? Alright, so now we're going to ask you the Art and Our Mind questionnaire. Okay, you ready? Gereed? Alright. What makes you happy instantly?
When I see people,
Yep,
and
that's it. What makes you unhappy instantly?
when people are broken,
Okay. What's your least favorite color?
purple,
Do you have a favorite book or writer?
my favorite aeroplane,
Okay. Who is your favorite artist?
Willie Bester,
Who is your favorite heroine? Woman hero.
it was my mother.
Right. If you could wish any artwork that you could have from any time period and you could have it in your house,
Cecil Scottons,
which artist, artwork, or art movement do you dislike the most?
dislike.
Yeah, dislike.
I don't think so.
Okay. What kind of songs get you going?
Jazz,
What is your favorite word?
love,
What is your least favorite word?
love,
No, least favorite. The one that you dislike the most.
hate,
What turns you on?
joy,
What turns you off?
loveless,
Okay. What makes you laugh?
love. That makes me laugh is love, the joy that's in people.
What's your best virtue?
What's it?
Your best quality. What's your best quality?
Clothing,
It's your best quality.
Hmm?
Oh, clothing, okay. What's your idea of misery?
misery.
What can make you miserable?
When people doesn't give love to other people.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love the most?
Guns.
You love that. What?
No. What?
That you love. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Ooh.
Got it on camera
No,
somewhere?
no.
We'll cut that out.
No, that is steak. What sound or noise do you love?
Music. Sorry.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Guns.
Guns.
Violence, yeah.
What is your favorite swear word?
No, I don't swear. Since I was a child till now.
Not even gosh.
Not
Not even gosh.
I don't think gosh is it's a swear word.
I think so. Maybe in some places.
Yeah. I don't know. Gosh, nice fine.
Damn.
No,
No, too harsh, too harsh.
No.
What profession, what job other than your own would you have liked to have tried?
To work in an office, with computers and stuff.
Okay, you're a computer tech person. Okay.
Yeah.
What profession or what job would you least have liked to have done?
I like wood carving to create some stuff out of wood.
No, that you would have not liked to have done.
Oh,
Which
okay.
would have been a torture to you.
To sit in our streets, yeah, the whole day, yeah, and gossip.
Okay.
I would never like to do that. It's another job.
How would you like to die?
Peacefully and loving, yeah.
When you die and you go to heaven, what would you like to hear God say when you enter those pearly gates?
Enter, my good servant and warrior. That's all. That-
Wow. Sophie, on behalf of the
It's
Art
not
on Our
given
Mind,
all of that.
50 Rand for all of that. This was a cheap session.
She's charging us for everything.
For the
From
tea,
using the
in
bathroom,
the bathroom,
words
50
per
Rand.
interview.
Just wanted the audience
You
to
see, I'm not
know.
asking questions, it's just talking while we
Yeah, we just want everyone to know how Sophie has been charging us. Sophie, on behalf of the Art on Our Mind research team, we want to extend our huge thanks for giving us your time so generously and for just delighting us, and thank you for being a wonderful tree of life for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Friend for Anne.
Yes.
Wow.
I think you might want to give Nona a hug. She needs a
No,
hug too.
New friends need hugs too.
Oh,
Thank you,
nice.
Sophie.
You're my loving sister.
Thank you, Sophie.
And as always, we want to also extend our thanks to Mia Lowe for her great videography, and to Fuad Asfor as well for the research, for the scanning, for all kinds of invisible labor that he does for the Art on Our Mind research team and the website as well. And thanks to all of you for watching this and for being with us on these journeys. Thank you.